everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer Underworlds Deathgorge, and I do apologize as this is actually going to be a review in a couple different formats. As originally I was filming this review with Colin Ross, and the vast majority of this review is actually going to be with two people, but then my camera or my mic actually fell off this arm. I'm having so many problems with these arms, not actually because of the boom, but because of the tables I'm mounting them to. I got all these like nice, like I dumpster dove for these beautiful old like sort of mid-century tables, and I refinished them all myself, because that's the thing, is if you're doing everything yourself, you can make nice stuff out of stuff that isn't nice. And the problem is they're all rounded, they're all beautiful old like antique tables, and the clamps don't sit nicely because the rounded edge doesn't hold it properly. So I'm gonna have to screw them in. I think they keep screwing things up and falling over. But you didn't come here to listen to me talk about my woodworking skills. I'm talking about the Deathgorge, the new 2-player starter set for Warhammer Underworlds, which was kindly sent as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop. And then I broke down almost completely with Colin, but luckily actually we did it in two parts because the audio was shot from the first part after it fell off, because what happened was the plug, basically the line out that I had from it, got unplugged. And then there was no audio. It was just this garbage audio from all of the bounce around the room because the cameras are not next to us. So it was just the in-camera audio that was there. So I decided to reshoot the whole thing so you guys can check out this box set. And the two things that we were covering basically before we jumped in, or before the catastrophe, before the boomy booms, were the two new things we noticed in the rulebook. One is, of course, just a minor scoring thing, and it may have been in the last rulebook and we overlooked it, but this rulebook contained some clarification on when you are not killed by a effect or an attack from a certain character, you're not counted as being killed by that player, or taken into action by that player. So certain cards won't trigger off that, certain objective cards. And the second thing is the new super action called Barge, which I believe wasn't in the previous book. I don't remember it being in the previous book, which combines a move and then a stun action followed by the fighter staggering. So when you do a Barge action, you basically create staggers. And it's a very useful action for, I think, certain Rivals decks, like the Tooth and Claw Rivals deck actually would benefit from that quite a bit. So those are really neat. We also noticed that there's far less lethal hexes on these two new board sections. So the first one is 2 cover and a block text, and then this one is just completely open with deployment. And also weird like Hellboy eggs, the Samael son of Nergal eggs. And then the second one has lethal hexes on both sides. So some previous ones had lethal hexes on 2 different boards. This one, the single board, has all the lethal on it. So if you pick this board, basically it's either lethal and stagger with a cover hex, or it's a lethal and a block hex and a stagger, and then a completely like kind of clear one as well, which was interesting because what it meant was it's a bit, you do drop, I believe it's the last 2 boards in rotation for like playing Nemesis, you do drop the board before that, so it's becoming, there's more no lethal hex at all boards, I guess, in the rotation, which we thought was kind of interesting. And then we went through the character cards for the new Siren's Razors, which we had started to break down. There are a 4 character, and the rest of it we'll do together actually, so this is the only part you're going to hear from me. We have Siren of the Abyss. This is the new leader card for the Idoneth Deepkin. She's a caster with 2 cast, and then she's got a 2 range casting attack with 2 damage, but her real sort of like benefit is actually the way that she throws her Hammer Tide. Now, Hammer Tide is a action where she basically places the scatter template in her hex, and then following the direction that the hammer is, and you can place the token facing any direction you want, basically does a point of damage, and also a like in a straight line, does a point of damage and a stagger to the first model that it touches, which means that this is unblockable. You just Hadouken basically a tide across there. Now, what's neat about her, with her 4 movement, 1 shield, and 4 health, she's not that robust, but she goes to 5 movement, so she can really place that hammer tide wherever she wants when she inspires. And the group has a single inspire, and it's not actually permanent, But it's permanent and impermanent. They have tides. So for their Inspire trigger, it's in your third power phase of the first round, your second power phase of the second round, and the first power phase of the first round. So you never start around inspired, but they auto-inspire because the tide, basically, it's low tide, flood tide, high tide, and they uninspire at the end of each round. So they're fairly interesting. They don't gain a ton from inspiring. Their power goes up a little bit. The two thralls tend to gain a little bit more than Siren does. So her inspire, she basically gets the additional point of movement, and that's about it. And she starts with 2 casts, which is really powerful. Then we've got Renglaith, which is one of the 2 thralls, Idoneth and Thrall. 4 move, 1 shield, 3 damage, and does 2 attacks with 2. They're basically identical on the front side, both these thrall models. But when inspired, goes to 3 looking for swords with 2 damage, but Grievous 1, so a crit fishing attack. And everyone's got 2 range except for the octopus too, which means they can stand off and force charge actions against people not with range. But they get unshakable when they inspire, which means that all basically non-support defense dice rolls are successful. They get dodges and shields on their successes. The other thrall is much the same front side basically, and then when flipped to inspire, it's going to be cleave basically on the attack. The attack stays the same against cleave, but gets an alternate mode where it can be scything at 1 inch range, 2 looking for swords and 2 damage, and also gets the unshakable where it gets the dodge as well as a shield. And then we've got Sephenir, which is the octopus. The octopus has a 1 range attack with 3 dice looking for 2 damage on swords, and then 5 move to start off with, 1 dodge and 4 health. Now it has a reaction though, which is pretty neat, which is Phase Ink. After an attack action targets this fighter, it's staggered. You stagger up to 1 visible enemy fighter within 2 hexes, and then place this fighter in a hex within 1 hex of no man's territory, and more than 1 hex from each enemy fighter, which means putting boards wide for this crew, basically having boards go the length is really advantageous because you get tons of no man's territory. It's basically all 3 of these hexes, and if you spin it up even like this, I think it goes even wider for him to like jump around into and gain this ultra mobility when somebody fights him, which is kind of neat. So then we're going to go through the objective cards, and I'll do that with Colin. So thanks for bearing with my technical difficulties, and we'll see you for more as we like cut back basically to the main review. Now we're back to recording. Welcome back, everybody, with another objective card.
Yes.
And my mic not falling on the ground. Can you tell Colin's here for the first time we're doing this? Because this is getting made up as we go along.
Hey, we're making it.
All art is experimentation and chaos.
Exactly.
We're making art right now, guys.
That's how you make the
best
best
you're
art.
here for this review.
The next one is Snuff Out. It's another surge. We got 2 more surges to get through here.
Holy crap.
Score this immediately after your warband deals precisely enough damage to an enemy fighter to take them out of action.
That actually makes the squid really useful.
That does. For the well, no, he's 2 damage too. Everyone's 2.
There's no 1?
There's no 1. The only source of 1 damage is Sirene's spell.
Huh.
And so there might be...
And we just read, too, that you don't count as dealing the damage
if
when you push someone into a hazard
people.
Either, so that you wouldn't be able to...
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Only even numbers.
Only even numbers. That's so weird. You'd have to trigger, if there was a 3-wound character, then you'd have to trigger a push before you attacked them somehow.
Yeah.
So power card, push them into something and then hit them for 2.
Yeah.
Timing is going to be so important for this warband.
I think the other option is just kind of I guess the other hard part is then because her spell is also scatter. It's no guarantee. You'd have to set up the scatter token and then hope the ice beam travels in the correct direction.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. To actually then get that last wound off of.
There's a little bit of chaos. It's cool though because there is so much surge. Yeah. And some of it is so movement dependent.
Yeah.
And reliable. It's probably good that some of the surge is baked in harder to do.
We'll see what it looks like when we actually go through the gambit deck. But all I'm saying is that if I was going to make a nemesis, that one would probably be one of the first ones to go. Yes,
definitely. Absolutely in a nemesis deck. And also having it baked in that 3-wound models are just the bane of that one card. Feels like an inherent design issue for that card.
Totally. Next one is Soul Harvesters. Score this in an end phase if more enemy fighters are out of action than friendly fighters are out of action. Okay. Pretty classic supremacy kind of thing. That one's worth 2, which is nice. And then the final card and the final surge. Score this immediately after an enemy fighter is taken out of action in enemy territory. So just
and
full
it's
on,
a surge.
And it's a
Is
surge.
It one though?
Full on. Pardon?
It's a 1 or 2.
1.
It's a 1. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just full on classic aggro. You know.
Yeah.
Which I remember like from the first Idoneth deck, it was like a weird mix of like aggro but also control objectives. There's less of that. This is definitely leaning more into aggro.
It looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a couple of objective play ones, which is nice. I mean, like when you're building a Nemesis deck, you'll definitely pick a focus.
Yes. On what you're trying to accomplish. And that warband like core stat block is very aggro, and like it has 2 base damage for everyone.
Yeah.
Unflipped. A lot of like 4 to 5 model warbands have like ones that flip to 2s.
Yeah.
Or they have ones with Grievous, or you know what I mean? Like they have like a couple guys in the warband that can't do 2.
They got the one like, oh, that's Carl, and he
He's in action. He's got 2 wounds. We send him out for that Stormcast guy to kill, and then we can jump on him and beat him up.
Yeah, he baits the big guy.
He baits the big guy out. Yeah, exactly. What are you doing? I'm standing on an objective that maybe I'll score. Oh no! Come get me!
Better come kill me.
That's right, just give him the finger. Who's that? That's Taunty Carl. He taunts a lot. All right, so what are our power cards? Let's do power cards. I'm looking at upgrades.
Okay, so first one we got is a spell, and so it's called Counter Current Gambit Spell Reaction.
Okay.
So it's looking for lightning bolts. Play this after an enemy fighter's move action. If cast, choose a friendly fighter not adjacent to the enemy fighter. The chosen fighter makes a move action that ends within 2 hexes of that enemy fighter.
So you're 2 dice looking for a 4+.
Yep.
Because casting has it's 1 swirly, 2 lightning bolts, a crit, and those are all your success faces. And then the rest of it is what? Double. Oh no, there's no supports on those.
No supports on those.
Sorry, I'm thinking a 3+ then.
Yeah.
It's 3. That's right. It's 3 lightning bolts. And so it's a 3+ on 2 dice.
Yeah.
Which is like an 83% chance of casting.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty decent card. And that's right. It's 4+ for the swirlies.
Yeah, and then it lets you move within 2 hexes of them, which again plays into like the range that they all have.
Yeah.
So it just kind of sets you up to not even have to charge next turn. You can just do an attack action.
Or get that card where you're trying to have everybody away as well.
Yeah, true.
You can set up that 1 objective card. If you get somebody that's been aggroed, basically you need to pull them back.
Yeah, because it doesn't say you have to end closer. It just says you have to end within 2 hexes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It can be away as well. As long as you're not engaged, because the whole point of that scoring is you're not engaged.
Yeah, it's a nice movement spell. You can also use that to just grab objectives as well. Yeah.
Yep. Because it's a power card too, during your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Or during the end of your turn, you can make it so that a guy.
Oh, it's a reaction. You actually play it during your opponent's activation.
Oh, even better. There you go.
So they finish a move action, and then you play this as a reaction.
And then you play it. Yeah. So you can do it at the very last turn. He set up his like big alpha for next turn.
Yeah.
And you're like, bam, bye.
I'm here.
Peace.
Creeping Mist, another reaction. This one's not a spell. Play this after a friendly fighter's attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. The friendly fighter cannot be the target of attack actions or chosen for a gambit until the start of your next activation. So this one's kind of like playing into that whole Idoneth, I think it's playing into the Idoneth, like like the fog, and you just forget to exist. Yeah.
And melt back into the darkness.
Yeah, and so definitely control, because then like if you send up a guy to just like alpha strike and kill somebody, then it's just like, hey, guess what? You can't kill them.
That's right.
Like
this guy's immune basically for the turn.
Yeah, they get a period of grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be a pretty harsh one to play once if like you just got down to 1 fighter.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, they could run around you and do objectives and stuff like that. But yeah, you would definitely have an issue with there not being any models left.
Yeah. Deep Sight. Rolls of double support are successes for inspired friendly fighters' defense rolls. This effect persists. This effect persists until the end of the round. Yeah. So it's just successes, not like a crit or anything, but like rolls of double support of success is pretty nice.
That's huge. Well, I mean, that's a 12.5% upgrade to every dice roll, basically.
Totally. Yeah.
So
for defense. Yeah. A lot of play to keep your fighters on the table.
And also triggers that like narratively like low tide thing where it's like, now I play this card at the end of the power step, and because I inspire everybody at the end of this turn, or this turn or this activation step or whatever, then I've got 3 turns of being inspired. Like you played at the right time basically, and everybody's inspired all of a sudden.
Totally. Yeah. This one, Eerie Distortion. Choose an uninspired friendly fighter and give them a guard token.
Cool.
Yeah, so
that's handy for that first turn, actually, when you're only inspired for the last turn.
Yeah, and so it's not like keep
the last actions, right?
Yeah, keep people around while it waits for the eventual.
Or just like beef up the bait, just it stands around longer, whatever your bait model is, or keep the squid going.
Yeah.
Do any of them have 2 defense dice, or are they all 1 defense dice?
They're all.
Not even inspired, I don't think.
Yeah, not even inspired. Yeah. They're all 1 defense dice. The squid goes up to 2 when he inspires.
There you go. Yeah. So Squidburg can be slightly more defending.
Lurking presence. Push a friendly Sephonir up to 2 hexes, so that's the squid.
More movement. Okay.
Yeah, more movement for him. We got another gambit spell. Momentary Vortex. Again, looking for the lightning bolts. If cast, choose a fighter and push each other fighter that is within 2 hexes of them 1 hex, so that they're closer to the fighter that in an order that you choose. If a fighter cannot be pushed that way, do not push that fighter. So it's like pulling. It's like making a whirlpool and pulling everyone in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. That was pretty neat. Yeah, it's that would actually be a good setup for what was her name? Anlathir's whirling, her scything attack.
That's right. Yeah.
Because that's
get them lined up around her, or get them lined up near her, and then she just goes.
Yeah.
And she could multiple it too, because she's not charging now at that point because they're all around her.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oof.
Yeah.
Or do it, drive them all back, or charge her in, do it, drive them all back.
Oh, and then pull them back in.
And then pull them back in with that power card.
Brutal.
That's such a cool layup. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
You could charge scythe, drive them all back during the scythe that you hit with all of them.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm safe, I guess. And like doesn't do anything. And then just, that's so cool.
That'd be fun.
Because her scythe is range 1.
Yes, it is.
So the guy
scything range 2 would be insane.
Bananas. It would be so gross.
Yeah. Resurfacing memory. Choose an enemy fighter within 2 hexes of an uninspired friendly fighter. Stagger them.
Okay.
Yeah, so set up for that 1 objective card that we saw earlier.
It is a lot of control, eh? So far the power stuff seems like it's all about movement, and it's all about like making people easier to hit with your 2 attack dice, because it's like 2 attack dice to faction here.
Yeah. We got a Spiteful Riptide. Inspired friendly fighters have flying. After a friendly fighter's move action, stagger each enemy fighter whose hex that fighter moved through. This effect persists until the end of the round. So they get flying, and then you just fly over people, and then stagger each person you pass over.
Nice.
Which it would be nice then, because then you can give this to that person, move them, stagger them as you pass through, and then just hit them as part of a charge action.
As part of the charge action. Yeah.
That's nice. Oh, the art for this one's sick. She's riding on the back of a big old manta ray.
Of course she is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's not a turtle. It's
not
little dudes. Okay, yeah.
It's not a real manta ray, though. It's a manta ray made of water.
Well,
it's a magic
it's a magical manta ray. You don't want to harm it. It's in SeaWorld. We're going to harm any animals here, man.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have orcas.
That's right, yeah.
Gambit spell. This one's actually looking for 2 lightning bolts, so you need to have a 2 3-ups to succeed.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and it's on because she'll normally be 2. I mean,
yeah,
she might get a magic upgrade in one of the upgrades that we see, but
true.
That means that you need. There's not a lot of ways to reroll magic dice either.
No, it's a rare one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's hard to get off.
Yeah,
then, obviously.
We'll see how the upgrades go, because we're about to get.
It's not 2 swirlies, because that would be
not 2 swirlies.
Hard.
Pretty great. Yeah. If cast, choose a friendly fighter that is adjacent to no enemy fighters and within 2 hexes of the caster. Place the chosen fighter on an edge hex and give the fighter a move token. So it's a teleport spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gives them a move token, but so they could move again, but they can't charge.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be the caster who's teleported. You can send someone else.
That's a cool way to get somebody out of danger.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. And then you have lots of place effects and stuff too. So
yeah. And it's any edge hex, so it doesn't need to be on your territory either.
Wow, you could really move
if just send someone all the way across the map.
Or like go hiding model that's like way far back to score your objective.
Totally. Yeah.
Just teleport back to the back hex and be like, "Hi, I'm 37 hexes away from where I was."
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could slingshot, like especially if you're doing boards lengthwise, you could go really far across the board all of a sudden.
Totally.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder it's hard to cast then.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Too riskier.
Yeah. And then the last gambit, Surging Stream, +1 damage to range 1 and 2 attack actions made by uninspired friendly fighters. This effect persists until the end of the round, or an uninspired friendly fighter makes an attack action. So, yeah, it's +1 damage, which is like pretty classic for aggro. But then it's interesting because that's the only true blue aggro gambit that I think is in here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Well, it's funny because that makes sense though, because otherwise it'd just be another aggro warband.
Yeah,
it gives them a flavor of that.
Yeah,
but they've mostly got these weird movement debuff shenanigans to try and make them more accurate.
It's a lot of the attack buffs they go for is to attack someone who's staggered, and then you get the buffs from doing that rather than the buff being as part of the card itself.
That's right, yeah. Because it's buying dice security through debuffing your opponent.
Totally.
Interesting.
Which then I guess would that Blood and Bones one. I forget the exact name of it, but
the wall one?
The one where the fighters have to be savage, and they become savage by becoming staggered.
Yes, the one where you have to berserk.
Yeah.
I guess you could feed into that one a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, because that one's still in rotation.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like it's kind of like one that like would buff all of those guys, but then
unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally. But and so like they get a bunch of cards that like they look at a bunch of stuff that plays into their cards, but then you get attack advantages against them.
But also you could just not bother with your cards then.
Yeah,
right.
True.
And just play your other hand, like your other power cards instead.
Yeah.
And wait for them to stagger themselves because they're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like there's a couple of things that's you're just going to be like, well, if you're just going to make it easier for me to hit you, I guess I'll just let you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And not worry about my card draw. I feel like that's like, yes, it makes some of your cards feel dead in your hand and like holding a dead card space, but at the same time, if they're going to make your entirely 2-dice warband hit a little bit more accurately, then that's probably okay too.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're getting into the upgrades.
Sweet, we're on to the final 10 of the Idoneth.
So this one's restricted to just Idoneth, so nothing for the squid. Which actually, that was interesting. They put... no, he's a hunter, so he's not even tagged as a beast.
He's not beast restricted.
Yeah, so he can get upgrades. Yeah.
Ooh.
Channeled Torment, reaction. After this fighter's activation, stagger an adjacent enemy fighter. And another reaction, after this fighter has dealt damage, stagger an adjacent enemy fighter.
Interesting.
So it's just, it's just setting up the ability to just stagger people who interact with you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just react. You've done something to me. You are now staggered.
We got defensive.
That's everybody, sorry, except for the squid.
Except for the squid. This one's restricted to just the leader, and it's called Defensive Swarm. Reaction: after an enemy fighter's attack action that targeted this fighter, if that fighter is within 3 hexes, roll 3 attack dice. If you roll 1 or more swords, deal 1 damage to the attacker and stagger them. So the art again, I like that. A bunch of little jellyfish swarm.
Yeah, little moon jellyfish swarm.
Yeah, but it's like a disincentive to attacker because then like 3 dice looking for swords is you'd probably get that.
Yep.
Like it's just one of them and then just deal the damage to you. So if you're kind of someone who's already taken a little bit of damage, it's a good way. It's like I don't really want to know if just like mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gifts of the Depths. Again, this one's restricted to just the Idoneth. Reroll 1 dice in their defense rolls.
Okay. I mean, they're all 1-dice defenders.
They're all 1-dice defenders.
That feels like a dead card to me.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know if like you're fishing for a crit.
Yeah.
If you're a 1-dice defender,
yeah,
and you're getting more than 1 attack dice at you,
yeah, you're fishing for a crit. Yeah.
So, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Any defensive upgrades, I'm just like dead card.
Yeah. Get out of
here.
here.
I'm just gonna dump
other things, please.
Yeah. Cycle this, please.
Upgrade for anybody. After this fighter's move action, push a friendly fighter within 3 hexes, 1 hex towards them.
Okay.
So, good way to kind of get some support set up that way.
Yeah, pull people with you.
Mm-hmm. Incredible Dexterity, another upgrade for anybody. Reaction, after the fighter's activation, give them a guard token. So, again,
that's great.
Yeah, but then
just
it's like,
after their activation.
After their activation, they get a guard token.
So even if you get de-guarded or staggered, just give them a guard token.
Give them a guard token.
Have a guard token. There you go. No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you have 1 defense.
You have 1 defense dice.
So who gives a shit for the most part?
But it's still a cool card.
It's still a cool card, yeah. That's a great card in any other warband.
But not for this one.
But not necessarily for this one. I mean, it does give you a 3+ like success.
Yeah, you can give it to Sephinir because when he inspires, he gets 2 defense dice.
These are, and they're also not. Well, no, one of them was locked off the squid. No, neither of them were locked off the squid.
No,
these are all. Yeah. They're literally all going on the squid when you don't need to put something more important on anybody else for any reason.
Totally.
Got it.
Savage Ferocity, +1 dice to the range 1 to attack actions. So cool. +1 dice. So it goes from 2 dice to 3.
That's an important one. So there's the one you're gonna buy instead of all of those defensive upgrades that are only important on the squid when he inspires.
Totally. Yep. Exactly. Soul Scry Lantern. We're going back to restricted just to Idoneth.
Okay.
If this fighter is on an objective token at the end of the 3rd action phase, gain 1 glory.
What?
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, man.
That's an upgrade that just buys. What?
Yeah, dude.
Get out of here.
You just
just stand on a spot and get glory. That's bananas.
Yeah. Bring a flashlight, get a glory point.
And also, like, whoever, because you got push stuff too.
Yeah.
So you kill somebody.
Yep.
You loot them to turn them into a feature token. You flip the feature token, you earn a glory.
Yep.
That is a great.
That's a really good card.
That is a bananas card.
Yeah, dude.
And when do you earn the glory? At the end of the
end of the third round. So it's like end of the game, you get another point.
Just for standing on a dead body? For standing on a feature token? Being like, I'm just an extra glory now?
Yep.
Wow. That's a great card.
Yep. Then we got Soul Siphon Mantle, restricted to just thralls. So this is just the bodyguards.
Okay.
+1 wounds. Yeah.
+1 wound for the dudes with no souls.
Yep.
That's into it. Yep.
Void Chill can go on anybody. -1 dice to a minimum of 1 from adjacent enemy fighters' attack actions that target them.
That's really handy because that means that your dance, if I'm going to stay 2 away from you because all my weapons are ranged 2, there's a penalty to fighting you now with range 1 fighters, which is what most everybody has.
Exactly.
That's really cool. I like that.
It's the only defense upgrade card that I think is like...
Probably worth it.
Is worth it because it's not...
On the Idoneth.
On the Idoneth. Because, then it's like... Because it's not affecting your defense rolls, it's affecting your opponent's attack rolls, which is much more versatile of a defense.
And seems to be the theme of this deck.
Yeah.
Debuffing your opponent versus necessarily like making you inherently better.
Yeah.
All right, last card.
It's a spell attack action upgrade, so obviously then it's just for the leader.
Yep.
Kicks it up to range 3 for her spell, looking for swirlies and 2 damage. Knockback 2 and stagger.
There we go. There we go.
And that's it. She just gets her spell just becomes way better.
Yep. Okay. So there's 3 upgrades in there we're fishing for.
Yeah.
I'm better at the end of the game, probably going on her, upping her range,
Yep.
making it harder to hit her at range 1. Mm-hmm. I didn't really hear any other upgrades in there I care about.
Yeah, the flashlight to just like shine a flashlight on something and get a point is like the one that's like the best.
The best. Yeah. And then just like inherently jacking her up is going to be good because she's going to want to stay at range anyway.
Yeah, I mean like because like this like her spell attack a spell attack upgrade is really nice, and I would definitely keep it in, but then it's limited by the fact it can only go on her. Right?
Yeah, it's funny because some warbands really live or die off their upgrades. This does not feel like one of them. This feels like one of the ones where it's like. I don't care about these as much, which is funny because they have so much surge scoring.
Yeah, totally.
But you don't care about your upgrades that much.
No, they'll like you'll be putting upgrades from whatever Nemesis deck you build it from.
If you're playing Nemesis.
If you're playing Nemesis.
So that's an interesting question. Do you play more Rivals or Nemesis?
Nemesis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me. I do not because I like because again.
Oh, it's about play.
It's also about like having people come in. And just get right to playing.
Yeah.
It's way more comfortable to play Rivals against strangers.
That's true.
Because everybody knows what's in the deck.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how they work. Mm-hmm. You don't have to learn a deck or if you're experimenting with a deck, it just feels easier.
Yeah.
And also, so many people that I play Underworlds with are filthy casuals, who are painters.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Underbands, they attract painters. They attract people who
Big
like
time.
painting models.
Yeah.
And so that was a big draw for a lot of my friends who are painters was to come in and play these games.
Yeah.
And
totally.
so like Rivals X just makes sense for them.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how do you feel about them so far? Like, what do you think the draw for that deck's going to be and for that warband?
I think while it's the fighters feel like they're on the edge of like being aggro, but then like looking through the upgrading gambit cards, like they feel much more suited to like keeping your opponent away from an area, and so it almost like
There's a lot of passive scoring.
A lot of passive scoring. I actually like I think that the Daring Delvers rival deck would be really cool.
Yeah.
The Fortress one, I actually remember reading that and just kind of thinking about how difficult it would be to set up.
They feel like the one meant.
They feel like it's meant for this. I'm interested actually seeing what the Rivals decks in the box are.
Yeah,
to see how they play with that. Yeah.
But it does feel like a finesse warband.
Totally.
It's not a beginner's warband for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, then let's talk about the one that I'm guessing is the beginner's warband, and that's going to be the Thricefold Discord. I find small count warbands almost always tend to be easier for me to wrap my brain around.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, right?
Yeah, there's less to manage.
Warband, less to manage.
Yeah.
So we've got, starting off with Vexmore, also a caster, but only 1 dice. 3 movements, so slow as slow can be. 1 defense and 5 wounds. So we got a big guy here, which means +1 glory to when they die.
Yep.
They've got Indolent Glare, so they stare at you. For range 2, so also range 2. In fact, 2 of these 3 models are range 2. So a counter to this warband a little bit.
Yep.
And 3 base damage. Yeah, that's a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Her Inspire is you make an attack roll, defense roll, or casting roll for a friendly Vashtis that has no successes, or that fighter goes out of action. So you want Vashtor the Quirrell to die.
Yeah.
or suck.
Well, that's like
because they're competing with each other.
That was the whole lore. They hate each other, right?
That's it. They all hate each other. So it's the understudy. You want the understudy to suck, and it makes you happy and you inspire. You have a Locus of Indolus for -1 damage to a minimum of 1 to attack actions that target this fighter if there's no success in this fighter's defense roll. So if you don't succeed in a defense roll and you're 1 looking for shields, it's just -1 damage. And you have 5 wounds.
Oh, man. That's
good luck killing that in one go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Inspired, you go to 2 defense dice, and everything else stays. Oh, sorry, you only have 1 attack dice on your base attack for 3 damage.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2 attack dice on the Inspire.
1 attack dice.
That's it.
Oh,
it's
man.
a 1 attack dice looking for a hammer.
That's brutal.
Weird. You're like a big damage sponge.
Yeah.
Basically.
You don't hit.
At all.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. You have 1 casting dice.
You have 1 cast.
All your actions are on 1 dice.
Something I always find funny about Slaanesh is then like all of like the kink gear, like it's really heavily focused on.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But then like I think like the interesting thing about Slaanesh is that it's always like excess in some form.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was I think it's interesting with like this guy, and then also like that big Slaanesh model of like the dude on like the Palantir and everything.
Yeah, the glutton.
Yeah, and so he's like glutton and like sloth and everything. And so I find like I always find it interesting when Slaanesh characters go for that kind of side of things.
Yeah, they don't go for the sexy like harem girl, harem pants kind of thing that most of them go for.
Yeah.
Or David Bowie.
Yeah.
Like it's like one of those two. It's
one of those two
like,
things.
You're Ziggy Stardust or you're like completely off the rails in the sex name. Yeah, you're Zap Brannigan or you're Ziggy Stardust. It's one of those
totally.
two. So Vastus the Coiled is the second one. Got some Ziggy Stardust going on here for sure with the bright red hair. Also a caster and flies.
Whoa. Oh my goodness.
Flies with 2 casting. So 4 move, 2 dodges, and 4 wounds. Has the Paramount Staff. Paramount Plus. 2 range, 2 dice, 2 damage. And then Lash of Slaanesh, which is 3 range, 1 damage casting.
Right. Okay.
So you got a 2 dice casting roll.
Yeah.
Your Inspire is you make an attack roll or defense roll for a friendly Lassivere, so the other character
the other one,
that contains no successes, or that fighter goes out of action. So it all shit rolls downhill.
It's a rock paper scissors game.
Yeah, and then you have Locus of Paramountcy. Adjacent enemy fighters cannot be supported while they are the target of an attack action. So no supports for anyone that you attack.
Wow,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Inspired, you're going to go to 4 range for your lash, and that's it.
Okay.
And then enemy fighters cannot be supported while they're the target of an attack action. That's the same Locus of Paramountcy. So yeah, your range attack goes to range 4, but you basically start off as good as you're going to be.
Yeah.
That's kind of your jam. So like sunset, day, and then we've got Lashavir, the Bladed Blessing. You're a Slaanesh Assassin and Brawler.
Oh.
So these guys are just Slaanesh, I believe. And then you got Assassin and Brawler in here too, so there's going to be some stuff keyed just to him.
Okay.
5 move, 1 looking for shields, 3 wounds. And then you got a range 1, 3 looking for swords, 2 damage attack.
Okay.
And then yours is you make an attack roll, defense roll, or casting roll for a friendly Vexmore that has no successes. So it loops basically back to the leader. And you have the Locus of Carnality.
Oh.
This fighter is always considered to have an additional supporting fighter.
Oh, wow.
Which means you're still hitting on 4s.
Yeah.
Equal, like, on your base sword attacks. So
yeah.
you're 3 dice looking for 4s because it's 1 blade, 1 success, and then you get supports on top of that.
Well, that's like something that like low count warbands always struggle with is getting support.
Getting supports.
And so now this guy only needs 1 support and he's hitting on singles and doubles.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everything that's not hammers, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Inspired, you're going to gain Grievous 1 on your melee action, which stays the same, and I think everything else is the same.
Okay.
So you gain Grievous. You get more stab. You can go to basically 3 damage on a crit. And you're rolling 3 dice, so you got a 50% crit rate.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So there it is, Looping Inspires. All right, well, what are we playing for? Looking for some surges. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 5 surges?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh.
6 surges.
There it is. That's the max.
Yeah, so maxing out on surges on this one too. So first, Born of Damnation. Score this immediately after playing your second or subsequent Temptation card in the same phase.
I guess there's going to be
like
those gambits.
It's like the song by everybody's favorite Kingston band. Oh shoot, I've forgotten their name.
Oh no.
Hard rockers from the 90s from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. I wanted to say 5440 for a second, but it's not. It's It's gonna come to me. Somebody in the comments.
It's not
tell
your
me.
favorite band from
No,
Kingston.
it's not. They sang the song Temptation. Hang on. No, these guys were on Q107 forever.
Okay.
I have to get this reference out now or it's gonna kill me. The band is called Temptation. And like the chorus was like Temptation.
I'm pretty sure I know what song you're talking about.
It is the Tea Party. Everybody's favorite 90s grunge rockers.
The Tea Party.
The Tea Party. Lost a lot of ground during the Bush administration. They're the worst. I did see the Tea Party live several times though. So obviously that's going to be a probably power card that you have to play to score that one.
Yep.
It's worth 1 for a surge. So if you get score 2 power cards, it's going to turn them the same.
Yep.
Hand dependent. So
Yes.
not great, but
Big
probably
time.
like a card of opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see how many temptations are in the ploys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Cacophony. Actually, we can just quickly look that up.
Oh yeah, true.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 temptation cards. So
Okay.
six
It's not bad.
temptation cards you can
Yeah.
potentially play. Cacophony for 1 surge scores immediately after your warband's 4th or subsequent casting roll in the same phase. How many casting gambits do we have? You have 2 casters, by the way, too.
Yep. No baked in
1,
spells though.
2, 3, 4, 5. So, but 2 of them are upgrades.
Would her attack or would her spell attack action count as a cast?
It does because it's a casting roll.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah,
need to be a
okay.
spell.
Yep.
Just a casting, roll. So if you're
Yeah.
making attacks with them
Yep.
or you're using these cards,
Yeah, that would count.
that'll count as well. Yeah. So that's actually it's 4th or subsequent. So if you have 1 to 2 in your hand,
Yeah.
or you have an upgrade.
And then do 2 attacks.
Otherwise, everyone's action needs to be a casting action to get
Yeah.
that one off. But it's a surge worth 1. Could be
Yeah.
useful early on.
Yep.
Your range is 3 on one of them.
Yeah, it is.
And then 2 on the other ones. Cruel Chorus, surge, score this immediately after your warband casts a second or subsequent spell in the same phase. So these ones are spell dependent.
Yeah.
Which means you'd need the upgrades or the gambits. But it's
Yep.
worth 1.
Yeah.
Escalating Screams, surge, score this immediately after a friendly fighter's subsequent supported attack action. So, yeah, hit with that guy.
Yeah.
Score 1. Done. Fueled by Pain, surge, score this immediately after a friendly activation step. If each surviving fighter counts, has 1 or more wound counters, so everybody gets wounded. Yeah. You're a 3 model warband.
Yep.
That's when your opponent can deny you, though, by focusing on a single model.
Yeah.
So, and also, I don't think there's any out of action clause.
No.
No, but it's each surviving fighter has 1
Right.
or more wound counters. So if you kill someone to dead, they don't count anymore.
Yeah.
Violent Excess, scores immediately after your warband's second or subsequent successful attack action that targeted the same fighter in the same phase. So just go kill somebody real good. You've got a 3 damage model, but he doesn't hit very well, so
No.
you're going to need that probably.
Yep.
Euphoric Killer, score this in end phase if 2 or more enemy fighters are out of action and 2 or more surviving friendly fighters are inspired. So 1 guy dies and 2 people inspire. Now, how that's going to work is someone has to be dead and someone else has to have sucked
Yeah.
to get that one off. It's
It's-
worth 2,
Yeah.
but it's any end phase.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to get that off is inspire him first off 1 dice attacks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he will trigger this guy and
Definitely.
then let him die
Yeah.
to score 2.
Yeah.
Let your damage sponge go up and suck. Maybe he hits somebody, maybe he doesn't. But mostly he's just trying to miss with that 1 dice attack.
Totally.
Or his 1 dice spell.
Yeah. It's interesting that like the warbands inspire conditions, like you don't get that much out of inspiring, but it's requires you to fail.
Yes. And they've built in a guy whose job is to suck
Is
and
to
fail.
fail.
This is like the most interesting, relatable thing. You have a bad lead, you have a bad manager, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just waiting for him to suck
You
and
gotta step
fail
up the game.
in order for anything good to happen.
Yeah.
That is the most relatable shit ever. I feel like someone's working their day out on this war.
Right,
A little bit of
yeah.
Games Workshop. Maybe some of the design teams getting some stuff out, getting some stuff in their work. This is art. This is very personalized art right here for somebody at Games Workshop. Euphoric Killers, duel, score this in an end phase if 1 or more enemy fighters are out of action and 2 or more friendly fighters are inspired. So, oh no, I just read that one. What am I? I just read that one. It's the same thing we just read.
Yeah.
Indulgence given form, score this in an end phase if 1 or more surviving inspired fighters each have 1 or more upgrades and are each on an objective token. So it's just 1 or more. So if you have 1 person left, that could be a final like turn 1. And it's Surge. No, it's end phase.
Right.
And then Obsession and Vice, score this in an end phase if one or more fighters each have one or more false gift upgrades and art of actions. So you have to have at least one person still alive. Someone has to be dead. They're all false gifts. Literally all. Oh, sorry, no, they're not. One isn't.
Okay,
one's
not a false gift. Right.
The spells aren't. Then it's like 1, 2, 3. Nope. 3. Only 3 of them.
Only
are false
3 of them,
gifts.
eh?
So 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you have to have somebody dead and somebody has a false gift.
Yeah.
Which feels like the thing your manager gave you that wasn't really a gift. Here's this calculator. I need you to do a lot of accounting work now.
It's a pizza party.
It's a pizza party. The pizza party out of it. This is like Severance the Warband. I'm going to get that pizza party.
Yeah.
Obsession and Vice. That's the one we just read. Triumph of Carnality. Scores in an end phase of 4 more fighters each have 1 or more wound counters and art of action.
Okay.
Okay. So 4 more fighters in your opponent's warband. No, on the table.
On the table.
Period.
So it counts for yours as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So small wound count warbands are dead.
Yep.
Because out of action counts, and then other people are just like chipped away.
Yeah.
So you literally can't. You can count this against 3 model warbands, but you have to also be dead.
Yeah.
It'll be really hard to score against like other Stormcasts or
Yeah.
Stormcasts or other Chaos warbands.
Like
that are small water
Morgoth's
count.
crushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A similar
Or like
kind
the
of
Khorne warband or the Nurgle warbands. They're all
Yeah.
small water counts. Triumph of Indolency. Hybrids. Score this in an end phase if 4 more surviving fighters do not have any move or charge tokens, or each surviving friendly fighter is adjacent to 1 or more enemy fighters and does not have any move or charge tokens. You got to get to the end phase to do that one. I kind of hate it.
Yeah. It's not a hot one.
If you have 1 model at the end of the game,
yeah.
maybe you score 2, but you
Yeah.
have to either held onto this or grabbed
Or
it.
just got it the last end.
At the
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
It might be,
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays, but I don't necessarily like that one. If
No.
it shows up in the beginning, you're probably just going to ditch
Yeah,
it. I wouldn't hold a spade as my hand
No.
for it.
Absolutely not.
No.
No, I discard and redraw for sure.
And then we got a 3.
Oh.
Triumph of Paramountcy. Score us an end phase if a leader is the only surviving fighter in 1 or more warbands. In 1 or more
Wait,
warbands.
1 or more warbands.
So if the opponent's leader is still alive and your leader is dead because
Yeah.
you want this guy to suck.
Yeah, yeah. Then everyone.
I
and
kind
you-
of like that,
That's fun.
actually.
I like that.
Because your opponent's... But again, it's... In 1 or more warbands is the only surviving fighter. So you have to have killed all the Skaven. Or killed all the,
everyone
like...
else. Yeah.
Some warbands that's going to work with, though. 3
Yeah.
model warbands, you could leave the opponent's leader alive.
Yeah.
And, like, just pick off the other guys.
Yeah.
It would play into several other objectives in here where it's like have 2, 3, 4 more dead or injured.
Or even just like there's inspire conditions of just like have them fail.
Yes.
You know, have them fail or die. And then
I feel like I would hold on to this one until the
Yeah,
end of the game.
it's-
If it showed up early, I would actually hang
Yeah.
on to it.
because then that changes your game plan.
It does change your whole game plan, the
your
whole
whole
game,
game
on.
plan.
But it's worth 3. That's
Yeah.
a big swing.
Yeah, totally.
That's a big swing at the end of the game. I don't hate that one as much as I hate the other one. I guess is what I'm saying. All right, power cards. Gambit spell. We've got Acquiescence. If cast, choose an enemy fight. It's 1 looking for lightning bolts.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
again, I wouldn't waste this on Vexmore or whatever his name is.
Right, yeah.
I would probably do this off of Tryhard in the middle there.
yeah.
Vesh. I'm not going to get these names right. I'm just going to say Bad Manager, Tryhard, and Stabatha.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are going to be their names.
Yeah.
This is a great review. I hope
There
you
you
guys
go.
enjoy. What is he just free associating through this whole thing? Acquiescence, Gambit spell. If cast, choose an enemy fighter within 4 and stagger them.
Yeah.
So it's just get a spell off too. It'll go into certain inspire conditions, or certain scoring conditions. Sorry. Heart's Desire. It's a temptation. Pick an opponent. That player picks one of the following. You push 1 fighter in that warband up to 2 hexes, so that fighter's adjacent to 1 or more fighters from your band. So you get to pick someone to send to me.
Yep.
Or stagger each fighter from that player's warband that's within 3 hexes of 1 or more fighters from your warband. So either your whole warband becomes staggered, or
Yeah.
you pick someone to get dragged over to me.
And that's one of the temptations?
Just temptation, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to play 3 or more of these.
Yeah, something like that.
The Illusion of Power. Pick an opponent that with 1 or more power cards in their hand. That player picks one of the following. Each player starting with that player can give a 1 upgrade from their hand to 1 fighter without spending any Ghur points. Or that player discards 2 power cards or 1 power card if they only have 1 in their hands.
Oh, man.
So you got to pick one. Everybody gets a free upgrade, or you have to discard 2 power cards or 1 power card if they only have one left in their hand.
Yeah.
So it's either you let me have one and you get one, or I think that's called the illusion of power.
Yeah.
Irresistible Feast, Temptation. Play this only if one or more enemy fighters are adjacent to one or more friendly fighters. Pick an opponent. That player picks one. That player deals 1 damage to each fighter adjacent to one or more fighters, or deal 1 damage to a fighter in that player's warband. So either you deal a damage to each fighter adjacent to one or more fighters, or you deal 1 damage to a fighter in that player's warband.
The idea of it's upsetting because it's just like, hey guys, remember when we were all in Cannibal Gorge?
That's right. Remember when we all had to eat each other? Yeah. So it's like it's like, what's the best, worst decision I can make here? So many of these temptations are about that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. No, they're fun gambits. I like them.
Because it's like, I either get to damage the guy that you really don't want me to damage, or everybody gets damaged. Well, everybody gets adjacent gets damaged. It's whatever's the least bad. Because you can just burn that right away, too.
Yeah.
To damage anybody. If cast, choose an enemy fighter within 3 hexes of the caster. The chosen fighter's player picks 1. And deal 1 damage to the chosen fighter, or you push the chosen fighter 1 hex. So it's, you choose, and then they have to decide which one of those things they want to do.
Right.
And it's if that guy's just moved up so he can swing on you, you don't want to push him, you just take damage instead. And it's just a single lightning bolt. So again, he could cast it fairly easily. You don't probably want to waste it on. Or you burn it easy or early to inspire somebody else, right?
True.
To fail.
Yeah.
Because it's a non-action spell. And the payoff isn't huge. That one I'd probably do to try and inspire. With your 1 dice looking for a lightning bolt.
Yeah, a defense or a casting roll that has no successes.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's anything.
Yeah.
It's anything. It's literally anytime he rolls dice if he sucks. His whole point is to suck. Clearly. Then we've got Soul Slice Shards. Gambit spell of cast, deal a damage to an enemy fighter that's furthest from the caster. So just do a damage to somebody really far away.
Yeah.
And you can maneuver to make that furthest too. So you can actually control who that's going to be if you want. It's 1 looking for lightning bolts again.
Yep.
So again, these are good ones to burn off maybe if you just want to get that guy inspired.
Totally.
Sublime Harmonies. In the next activation, each friendly fighter supports each friendly fighter within 3.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's supported.
Everyone's supported.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
They go from hating each other to becoming like best of friends.
Especially if you want your spells to go off.
Oh, totally.
Right? Because supporting... no, that doesn't do anything to spells. Never mind.
No, not for spells. It would be like...
defend.
Yeah.
If you want to
defending...
defend.
Lets him become more of a sponge.
Yeah.
Lets this guy just throw more dice and get more success.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would matter for him because he would have no failures except for hammers all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He'd be 3+ hitting on 3 dice.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Visions of Wealth. It's a temptation. Pick an opponent with 1 or more unspent glory points. That player then picks one of the following. Either pick a fighter up to 2 X's towards the nearest objective token or spend a glory point. With no benefit. Yeah, you either got to push somebody towards the nearest objective or spend that glory point.
Oh, man.
I like that one. That's a neat temptation.
Man, inflation's crazy these days.
Right? Absolutely. Then we got Well-Earned Rest, a temptation. It's got a Yawning Stormcast on it. That makes me so happy. Pick an opponent. That player picks 1. You never see Space Marines yawning.
No.
Right? This guy's just a human. Pick an opponent. That player picks 1. You either give a fighter in that player's warband that has no tokens a charge token, or you can remove up to 2 move-in stagger tokens from surviving fighters.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So either somebody has to charge, or have somebody have your moves and staggers go away.
Yeah. Be a little sleepy.
So the player picks 1. You give a fighter in that player's warband that has no tokens a charge token, or remove 2 move and stagger tokens from surviving models.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Does that mean
if they get a charge token, it means they can't be chosen for activations unless everyone else has a charge token?
What I was going to say though is if you don't have 2 move or stagger tokens out already, do you have to do the charge token?
Someone can have multiples of the same token. So if they already have a move token or they already have a charge token, they can.
I see what it's saying. No. So what it is either because it says you, so it's they make the choice. I either get to make one of your guys charge, or I get to remove 2 move or stagger tokens from my warband. Is what it is.
That's a much more interesting choice.
You have to make the bad choice on what I get to do.
Dang.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Last of our power cards, Words of Praise. Pick a fighter in your opponent's warband. That fighter's there is so much management theory in this deck. It's crazy to me. I am loving this card deck.
Yeah.
Pick a fighter in it's a good sandwich. Pick one of your opponent's. Pick a fighter in one opponent's warband.
Yep.
That fighter's player picks one. You push that fighter up to 2 hexes towards the fighter in your warband, or that player cannot activate that fighter, and this persists until the end of the activation phase. Either you push a guy 2 towards me, or you just cannot activate him again until the end of the turn.
Yeah, because they just look to shout over you. Doing a good job, buddy.
Doing great. Doing so great. And he comes over there. That is a great card. These are such weird power cards, but I like them. They're so chaosy.
Yeah, I'm way more impressed with the gambits than I was with the objectives.
To be fair, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we're into upgrades. So we have a reaction, Ecstatic Scourge. After this fighter's attacked action, other than a scything attack action, deal damage to this fighter, then push this fighter a hex. So you can just whip yourself to move a hex for some movement shenanigans, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. We've got the Gourmand of Pain. So this is his pictures on it. Yeah. Spell reaction with a swirly. Use this after an attack action if this fighter was the target. If cast, deal 1 damage to one fighter within 1 hex of this fighter. Basically, if you hit me with an attack action, I backlash you for damage. So
he's already
a reactive damage sponge.
Yeah.
And also, it would cause inspires.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right? So, like, if you failed to do it after someone hits you, it would cause somebody else to inspire because it's a spell reaction.
Yeah.
Because it's a casting roll.
Yep.
The Helm of Insight. This is a false gift. You can give this upgrade to an enemy fighter. So all the false gifts you can give to enemy fighters.
Nice.
This fighter's defense characteristic is 2 shields and cannot ever be modified further.
Okay.
This fighter cannot have line of sight to fighters that are 2 or more hexes away.
Ah.
And then you can resist it as an action to break this card. So you can shake it off with an action to buy it off. But basically, you get 2 shields. Yeah. But you can't see me if you're outside. So you put on a shooter or a caster, and they're like, and you can't see them because the visor's down. With the blast shield down, I can't see anything. I love that you can give these out.
That's so fun.
The next false gift is Invincible Armor. Oh. You can give this upgrade to an enemy fighter. They gain a wound. They're -2 move to a minimum of 0. And then resist break this card. You're impossible to kill, but unable to move.
Yeah.
Perfect Blade, false gift attack action. It's 1 range, 3 hammers looking for 3 damage.
Wow.
You can give this upgrade to an enemy fighter. This fighter is not considered to have any other upgrades or attack actions other than this attack action.
Oh, so they just become obsessed with the sword.
But they're super dangerous.
Yeah.
They can't do anything else, but they're super dangerous.
Yeah.
So someone who's like attack action is basing, like they've got objectives or like things that are based on it, you could like cripple them with that one.
Or like,
but they're super dangerous.
Yeah. I would even, like, you know what actually I would be fun with is that the Wolf Rider warband.
Yeah.
Because they all love giving upgrades to their people.
Yes.
And then you just say, here, you only get 1.
Yeah.
You only
this is the thing you have. Yeah. This is the thing you get forever. Sadistic Epitome, +1 damage to this fighter's attack actions that target enemy fighter with 1 or more wounds. Then, like, it's just got a picture of Moloch getting, like, stitched up.
Just getting beat up.
And it says, "See, Vexmore, I can take my time." Gross. We've got Song of Corruption. Enemy fighters within 2x of this fighter support this fighter's attack action other than scything attack actions if they're not the target of that attack action. So basically, if you're not fighting me, your friends support me.
Wow.
That's cool. So you can dive into like a pile of people, pick somebody up, and get them supporting you.
Crazy.
I mean, very cool for the lone stabber.
Yeah, definitely.
If he wants to dive,
I feel like I would just pour as many upgrades as I can on them. Honestly.
He does feel like you use him to upgrade him, and then he dies so that he gets upgraded.
Yeah.
Because it just means he's out of action, right?
Yeah.
Unnatural Swiftness, +1 move and dice this fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions, while this fighter has no move or charge tokens. And again, it's got this guy.
Yep.
So he gets his extra move because he's very slow.
Yep.
The Whip of Subversion attack action, 3 dice at 3 range for 1 damage, looking for swords. Mm-hmm. In the drive back step of this attack action, instead of driving the target back, push them a hex.
Oh.
So move them wherever you want instead.
Nice. Like again, that plays into why there's fewer lethal hexes.
Fewer lethal hexes on this table, yep. And then Icon of Excess, restricted to a caster.
Yep.
Spell attack, looking for swirlies. Deal a damage to this fighter. If cast, each surviving friendly fighter can make 1 move or 1 attack.
Okay.
That's a crazy action.
Yeah, that's really good.
All three get to
attack. Yeah.
All three get to attack for a swirly. So you put it on him.
Wow.
So you're 2 looking for a
dice.
swirl.
Yep.
He's only got 4 wounds, but if he takes a wound, now everybody gets to make an action.
Yeah.
That is the biggest upgrade card in this warband.
Totally.
Because it means a 3-model warband can take 6 actions per turn.
Yeah.
Because 1 goes into doing this one.
Yeah. Well, even just keep
Actually,
them back.
sorry. You could have them go 12 times in a turn and kill him.
Yeah. You could it's not like if they have a damage, it does the thing. Just they take 1 damage and then wow. Okay.
It's if you succeed, deal a damage to this fighter.
Deal damage to the fighter. Gotcha.
So you automatically deal a damage to the fighter, but then if cast, they all do it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So you want the 2 dice guy to do it.
Wow.
And then have him just go off and have everybody go 3 times.
Yeah.
That is a big
really
push
good.
multiplier potentially. It'll kill him obviously to do it.
Yeah.
But
might be worth it.
9 actions.
Yeah,
Pretty
could
cool.
be fun. Well, I mean, because then when this person dies, and this person inspires, right? So,
Yep.
bang.
Exactly. Everybody
Easy.
else inspires.
Yeah.
Wow. So initial thoughts. That deck feels way more cohesive.
Yes, it does.
Like way more
Yeah,
cohesive.
there's much more of a focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's not trying to play aggro or objective control or anything like that. It's like it has its mechanic,
Yeah.
and everything in the deck plays into that mechanic.
I feel like they need that deck construction for 3-model warbands.
Yeah.
You have to be super focused because there's no margin for error.
No.
And they have to relate to what those 3 models are doing because when they start to die,
Yeah.
3-model warbands can fall apart super fast.
Totally.
Inherently, that's why Steelhearts always used to fall apart is because when you lose a guy,
Then that's a third of your warband. It's
and
gone.
in the old days, you couldn't, after you charge, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So like literally
It's
just
done.
standing there taking punishment and dying. And that's
Yeah,
why the
yeah.
4-model Stormcast warband became like the norm almost.
Yeah.
Because you needed to have that extra model to be able to do more things.
Totally.
Or a deck that was hyper focused.
Yeah.
Like this one is, where, you have like a thing where dying plays into the mechanic, you have an action multiplier.
Yeah.
You're debuffing your opponent. And I think what I like the best about this, 1, yes, someone's clearly working out their day at work in the warband writing here. But 2, the fact that it feels that rivalry is baked into the mechanics for
Yes.
them. I wouldn't feel bad about playing this Rivals deck on its own, I think, because it's so inherent to who they are.
Totally.
Now, the flip side of that is, do you think this makes them less of a candidate for universal rival decks?
I think it still would end up working out for some Nemesis things because you basically then look at whatever Nemesis plays into. I think kind of looking at casting roles or things like that because there was a couple of cards that you and I were both kind of lukewarm on in there, and so I feel like this deck would remain largely untouched. But there's probably, I don't know, maybe 4 cards that I would swap out.
I just feel like the harder the theme is with the character cards,
Yes.
the harder it is for them to dive into universal decks.
I would actually swap out probably most of the objectives because while the upgrades and the gambits play really nicely with their inspire conditions, the objective cards just didn't really seem to do so much as that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I would
looking for universals that have lots of push pull mechanics, standing in very few concentrated places because with a 3-model warband you can only stand so many places.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of where it would be is the gambit and the upgrades would remain almost completely untouched, and then the upgrades the objectives is where I would actually do more of the Nemesis deck building.
Sweet. Well, so there we go. We got through the 2 warbands from the box. So what I want to do now is I want to take a pause.
Sure.
You and I are going to, so this was the review portion, guys, for you guys watching. We're going to play a game with this warband now before we look at the universal decks, because I think that'll give us more context.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we're going to go offline. You guys are going to, I hope, have enjoyed this review, this discussion where I'm actually bouncing ideas off somebody and not just free associating. I'm sorry, I'm probably more free associating, but it's definitely going to be more entertaining than it would be if it was just me by myself.
Yeah.
And again, we're working out some stuff in the studio, so this big camera thing that's in the way of my face will be gone eventually as I replace it with an overhead cam.
Yes.
So we'll build these models, we'll grab some lunch, we'll come back and play a game, and we'll do separate videos. You guys now can just watch them, but there'll be a separate video for the review of the for the Let's Play where we play with the decks, and there'll be a separate video for the review of the Rivals decks. I want to thank Colin for coming in.
Of course.
Big Underworlds fan that he is.
Thank you for having me.
And video game dev, so some interesting different insights. And you guys for watching. We'll see you for another GMG review. Oh, and thank you to Games Workshop for sending us as a complimentary review copy. So yeah, Idoneth and Slaanesh. Have a good one.